So power analysis in R. How can you conduct power analysis in R? PWL package allows you to calculate power for various statistical tests, also determine the required sample size, and compute detectable effect sizes, and also create power curves and visualizations. So the PWL package allows you to be able to do all this. So we have for various statistical tests, we have that of the t-test, that of the ANOVA test, we have that of the chi-square test, we have that of the p-test. So when you're going to calculate the power analysis, you should try and provide 3 parameters to calculate any of the fourth one. Either you provide your sample size per group, your effect size and significance level to get your power. Provide your effect size, significance level and power to calculate your sample size, or you provide your sample size, effect size and power to get significance level, or you provide your sample size, effect size and significance level to get the power. So but most consistently, the most common is usually the sample size is being calculated. So you specify your effect size, your alpha, and your power to calculate your n, which is the sample size. So power analysis work, you should try and define your research question, what comparison are you making and what type of test will you use. Then next, you get your effect sizes from previous literatures or pilot data, clinical significance. Then you also set your error rate. So you choose alpha, which is 0.05, or choose desired power, which is 0.8. Then calculate your sample size, use the appropriate PWR function. So interpreting your power analysis results. So your output is going to be test type and design, the sample size per group, the effect size, your significance level, your power, and also your alternative hypothesis. So what do you report? You are going to say a sample size of 64 per group provides 80% power to detect a medium effect at alpha is what? This. So this is how you are going to interpret it, that this is the sample size you need to provide 80% power to detect a medium effect at this particular level of alpha. So why do we use power curves? We usually use power curves to visualize the relationship between sample size and power, to show the points of diminishing returns, and also compare different effect sizes and also aid in decision making. So power curves usually have x-axis as sample size, then y-axis statistical power. So we have multiple curves for different effect sizes and the reference line at 0.80 power. So in your power curve that I showed earlier, you see that the x-axis is the sample size, the y-axis is the statistical power. You can have multiple curves for different effect sizes. So but the reference line is usually at 0.80 power. Like now, look at just the example now. You can see we have various effect sizes. So the 0.8 effect sizes, if you look at each effect size, you can see that for 0.2 effect size, the minimum number of sample needed to get at least 80% power is not even up to 80% power, so which means you can't use this effect size. But you can see 0.5, the minimum amount of number of samples needed to achieve 80% power is around either, this should be either 60 something or 70 something samples. And you can see that of effect size of 0.80, the minimum amount of samples needed to get the at least 80% power, you can see is not even up to 50. It should be around 20 something. So you can see it, the minimum amount of samples needed. So this is the power curve visualization. It allows you to be able to visualize various effect sizes. So sensitive analysis. Why do we do sensitive analysis? So effect sizes are their estimates and they are uncertain. So what we do is to calculate sample size for expected effect. D is equals to 0.5. Calculate power for smaller effects 0.3. Calculate power for larger effects 0.7. So you understand how robust your study is to effect size specification.